All right, dating at Harvard, man. Wow. Way to end on a banger. Banger? I hardly know her. God, this is off to a great start. So, for those of you who don't know, hey, I'm Yes Renault, and I graduated from Harvard 2 years ago? She doesn't even go here. That is true. I do no longer go there. But I do have what one might call a statistically large sample size of dating experiences at Harvard. It might make me qualified. You know, big data. So if you're ready to come with me, I would say, let's fly, my little nerd birds, into the topic. Cacao. Alright, so I guess one of the first things that was unique about Harvard was that there weren't a lot of boyfriend-girlfriend things going on. And I don't know if this is just a millennial thing, like, can't be tied down, or if this was a Harvard-specific thing. But I always saw it kind of as, like, people weren't in relationships because they were more interested in getting their own thing done. I feel, at least like what I always tell Zeman, if we had met when I was at school, like, I don't know how we would have been able to handle a relationship, because I was doing, 6 hours classes, 6 hours studying, filling up the rest of the time with extracurriculars and stuff. And it was just a ridiculous schedule. And so many students at Harvard are just trying to accomplish so many things during that time of their life that they kind of have blinders on to the love world. It's kind of like we're all like busy bees, but not in the down and dirty sense, more in like the let's build a hive kind of sense. Alright, now I can't get through a whole video about dating at Harvard without talking about Harvard goggles. Right, now I'm not talking about swim goggles, right? We're not Michael Phelps's or Katie Ledecky's of the world. Although Katie Ledecky's brother was my classmate. No, I'm talking about a different type of goggles. So essentially, Harvard goggles was a horrible term meant to say that by selecting some of the smartest students in the world and putting them in one place, you're actually ending up in a school with people who are less objectively attractive than they would be in other schools. I'm actually Urban Dictionarying it right now because I'm curious. Oh my gosh, this is more sexist than I thought. This says, Harvard goggles, how women are typically perceived at Harvard University. This perception generally inflates the true rating of a woman by approximately 2 to 3 points on the 10-point scale. For example, if a woman is a 5 outside of Harvard, she is approximately an 8 at Harvard. Well, I guess that makes me a 3 on campus. Oh god. I thought it was for men too. This Urban Dictionary, get your facts straight. Of course I gotta speak to that because it's too big not to. I guess if my liberal side were to respond, it would probably say something like, beauty is subjective. How can any of us say? But I guess if my conservative side were to respond, it would say something like, oh yeah, Harvard kids did look a little bit like plants that hadn't, gotten fed or sunshine in a while. like a little shorter than you'd expect and a lot more pale. No, but it's true. I spent so much time inside during the winter, I felt like a faded photograph. Start out fall like a tan goddess, end up in spring like a melted snowman. But a wiser, more intelligent melted snowman. No, but there is this interesting thing about Harvard goggles. It was like, now that I have these Harvard goggles on, once I leave, I can never look at somebody and be attracted to them if they aren't intelligent. No, guys, but it is real, this, like, being smart thing and having trouble finding other equally smart individuals. I remember one time a friend of mine set her Tinder profile to a mile radius because she didn't want to meet anybody who wasn't inside the Harvard bubble. And by friend of mine, I mean me. You guys, it's so funny. The Harvard experience was so crazy in so many ways. That actually makes me want to talk about the first chance and last chance dance. 2 hallmarks of the Harvard dating experience. Sometimes because Harvard students could be a little bit shy, they needed a little bit of a nudge to help them out. So essentially, first chance dance is easy, right? It was like freshman year, first month into the college where everybody gets together and makes out, gets sloppy, you know, whatever happens on the dance floor stays on the dance floor. But what was way more interesting was the last chance dance, right? Which happened about a month before you graduated your senior year. The last chance dance was made for getting together with people who you had a crush on in that moment, or who potentially you had a crush on over your whole Harvard experience but were too nervous to ever say anything about. And the reason the last chance dance was so interesting was that before it, we filled out this thing called the Match 15 survey. But my year, it was actually called the Match 16 survey because we were class of 2016. And so what we did is we wrote down a list with up to 16 names of people we had crushes on or were interested in. And if the people who you wrote down on your list had written you down on their list, then it would tell you if you guys had matched, right? And if the other person didn't write you on their list, you would never know if the person took the survey or not, right? So it was essentially an anonymous way to profess your undying love, right? Like, I remember though, my friend, we'll call him Tommy, because that's his name. He was absolutely not a fan of Match 16 or Match 15, whatever it was called, whichever year. Because before my year, if people were interested in you, but you hadn't matched with them, it would tell you how many people had liked you. And so some people were getting in like the hundreds of numbers, saying like hundreds of people have a crush on you. And Tommy just thought this was like disgusting, right? But Tommy was a really good coder, and the school reached out to Tommy to ask him to build the website for his class, which was class of 2015. And I remember it because, you know, Tommy's not the only good coder at Harvard. I remember there were other people trying to hack into his website the year that he created the Match 15 survey. I mean, this was a big deal, guys. You had the preferences of every single student, well, who filled out the survey in your database. So could you imagine if somebody hacked that and got all of the info? Oh my gosh. It's not as bad as losing your credit card number, but it's pretty dang close. But no, that's pretty much all of the geeky singling and mingling that I could condense into this video. Going off on a quick tangent super fast, if you want to go from lovebird to nerdbird, I've included a link to one of my accepted Harvard essays down below. So if you want to see what gets you into a school like Harvard, go download it. All right, that's it. I am Yes for No, and I am probably not going to be doing a whole lot of videos about Harvard or any videos about Harvard in the foreseeable future. So I hope you guys like the ones that I have put out, and yeah, time to close this chapter. Pass the nerdy baton on to you. Love you guys. Bye.